Hey there, traders. Todd here. Welcome to the free video. Haven't done one of these in a long time. Hope you guys are well. It's February 2nd, Groundhog's Day. Did Chair Powell see his shadow? His inflation shadow. Looks like that shadow is going away, and it's I think it's party on here. We got some earnings coming out. It's been a little mixed. Markets are still hanging in there pretty well here. So let's show you the technical position of the market, and let's dive into a key sector that's driving this here. So let's jump in first. The overall market, here's the NASDAQ 100 cash daily chart going back to 21. And here is all of 22. We came up, we broke the downtrend resistance here. That is sourced in the NASDAQ from December of 21. We have a few touch points on that trend line, which is actually a trend channel. We broke through, which was also the 200-day moving average, which also was a series of highs from November and a couple in December, though. So the question on the table from Elliott Wave point of view is this a wave 4 and we're ready to move up in wave 5? Or is this A, B, C, alternate X, which would make that W, which means we have further to fall? So let's kind of assign a few more levels to it and see if we can answer that question. So I believe that we do have a wave 1 secured, a wave 4 secured at the October lows. So let's throw 100% in there. And the reason I think that this is not an ABC corrective move is we are through the 100% relationship of the percent distance traveled from October to early December, back down from December. And not only did we not hold the 100% projection right there, we gapped through it on earnings. So that says to me that we are in not an ABC correction, but we're in fact in higher degree wave 3. Okay, so resistance comes up a little higher here, 1330, 1357. And again, kind of filling in some smaller wave counts. That, I believe, would be the path on the way up, and the recovery continues. So again, this was a major zone of resistance. And I was on CNBC last week talking about this in XLC, which is the communications. That's the sector that I really want to focus on. That's been a major turnaround. Here's the 200-day moving average. Okay, this was right around January 24th. We have a good 5-wave move up, sell off, and then on the approach to the 200-day, that was right around January 24th. This is when I was on CNBC talking about it. I just want to let it roll for about a minute, and then we'll come back and we're going to dive into some of the industries and stocks within this sector.
Talk about this action, Todd. We've heard a lot of things about the beginning of the year. Low quality start to the year, interesting short covering element. Do you think it's overbought?
Communications, Carl. Hey, how you doing this morning? No, I don't think so. They've been significantly out of favor, and one of the key themes that we're seeing here in the early goings of 23 is a rotation back into communications from a very low starting point in a rotation out of energy, right? So as you said, they're coming up against the 200-day moving average, and so much of this market, not just communications, but the NASDAQ and the S&P, it's facing just a wall of key technical, highly visible resistance. So I think if you look at the components, what's actually making communications rotate in right now, early on it's been mobile and fixed telecom, but some of the other more high beta-ish parts of communications like internet, broadcasting, entertainment, they're just starting to get going. And we just saw Microsoft try to make a run, got stuffed. Google all of a sudden is making a pretty big run. So I say it's still early.
Right. You think the money continues?
So to set the tone of that a little bit, let's go back and look at the two sectors that I mentioned there in CBC, give it a little bit more color, which is XLC, which is communications, and XLE, which is energy. So this is back to this is going all the way back to the COVID lows. So this is mid-March 2020. And what you're looking at up here is the rotation. This is a great way to look at relative strength under outperformance compared to some benchmark. There's no better way to look at it. This is the monthly rotation and this is the weekly rotation. And as I move the cursor on the charts here, you're going to see how these two sectors move in relation to each other, as well as the S&P 500 benchmark, which is right in the middle here. That's the intersection of the XY axis. So energy red, S&P blue, comms in green on the chart, okay? So through 2020, you can see, all right, what's going on? Well, we had energy fall out of favor. Communications are doing fairly well. The weekly chart is going to be a lot more hyper moving around than the slower moving monthly. But, okay, so fine. So what happens here is energy all of a sudden, right about here, which was December of 20, is when energy starts to go on its massive run. Focus on the weekly here. So energy goes from the lagging, which is the worst position relative to the benchmark, then it goes straight up into the improving quadrant. And that's when energy really starts to make the move here. And you can see comms on the charts kind of hanging on top of the S&P. So then, okay, then we have energy going from improving into leading, and then it accelerates through. And look what's happening to comms. Comms are inside this circle, which means there's not as much volatility, but the direction is it's heading out of favor down and to the left. So comms are dropping, energy's outperforming. Let me get you a little bit more scale here. And look at the move in energy. So all of a sudden, we have energy going up to the right. Along the bottom here means it's picking up momentum. It's got relative strength to the benchmark, but it's picking up momentum as it's doing that. All right. And then as we get here, we start to approach this double top. This is November of 22. And then we start to see energy starting to kind of drop here. The arrow starts to move down. Is what are comms starting to do? Starting to give us a hint of turning up and rotating from lagging up, as energy is rotating down from leading, pointing towards weakening, as comms pointing towards improving. So then let's see what happens on this monthly. Then all of a sudden, we get a pretty good hook here in communications. Communications make a big move up here on the month over month. And what's the weekly doing? Over here, comms, energy. Energy is moving down week over week as communications are starting to do this. Watch this hook. All of a sudden, watch this. This is the last week in December of 22. Watch the comms weekly. Boom. Just rips right into the new year on the weekly here, okay? So we had a big rotation happening, and the confirmation was like here, okay? This is like the week of the 6th of January into the next week, the 23rd. So by the time I went on TV, it had already been happening. His energy's falling out. Comms are rotating in. All right. So let's go one step further. Okay. Same, we're looking at the monthly, weekly on the rotation, but this guy, chart down here is a 240 minute. All right. So let's just give this a little bit more granularity. Look at the move in XLC. As the S&P is moving up, his energy is moving out. So let's look at this a little bit and focus on the weekly. Watch this move again. Okay, so here's when did we go from lagging to improving? This is where you find outperformance in the benchmarks. All right. So we pretty much did it in the first week of January. January 6th is when we got the move. And again, look at what energy is doing, rotating out. So fine, we've got early signs. You can see the lines down here. There's not too much divergence. It's not like communications are outpacing the S&P significantly, but the relative rotation graph is showing you early there's cracks below the surface in energy, and comms are gaining some momentum. And then all of a sudden, we get the explosion here as we move into earnings season right here. You can see comms rip to the upside, right? So there's a very big shift happening right now. No, it's not happening right now. It's apparent at this point, but the rotation has been occurring even before the start of this year. It should not be surprising that value is rotating out, growth's coming in, and now we're getting some clarity, some finality as to where rates are. We look at longer term futures markets, commodities markets, inflation is not viewed to be a problem significantly. Look at 5 and 10 year break even inflation levels. I mean, it's not going to be an issue. it's not going to be an issue. We have corporate earnings that are going to be weak. They've guided down. We know we have some problems from 2022 that are going to come into 2023, but in terms of going forward, as the market is forward looking, a lot of those headwinds are out of our way. So let's go here into the industry level. Let's start to get a little bit more granular within comms, okay? The industries that have already made the move here on the monthly right here, fixed line telecommunication and mobile telecom. Those have already made the move into improving, almost in leading. Again, this is against the S&P. XLC was in the toilet for years, right after it came out, right? With Meta and Netflix dragging it down, and now it's come roaring back. But the industries that are showing, getting off the mat and really rotating into favor right now are publishing, internet, broadcast, entertainment, and media. Okay, if you go over to the weekly here, look. Internet has made a huge push up. Broadcast. Here's mobile telecom. I already mentioned that one over on the monthlies already made the move. Media, and then publishing. So two that I want to focus on here. I pulled out a couple stocks within broadcast and entertainment, which is this guy in the green right here, which that kind of hook from lagging up. This is where outperformance begins relative to your benchmark, which this is benchmark against the S&P. Right, this is not benchmark against the communication sector. So we have emerging continued outperformance, which is one of the reasons I told Carl on CBC. Probably, I don't think this is just the. I don't think it's over. I believe it might be just starting, because these are the guys that were really moved. There's a lot of market capitalization in these industries, and here's a few. Okay, so broadcast and entertainment, right? And before I jump into the stocks, let me just orient you on the weekly. Okay, so broadcast and entertainment went from down here in the lagging as of December 2nd of 22, January 6th, we moved into improving, and then since then it's been rallying sharply. So a couple names sorted by market capitalization. You shouldn't be surprised to see Walt Disney, some clarity on the board there. Comcast looking good. Charter Communications, pretty good breakout potential there, 412. Warner Brothers, a little streaming going on there, Fox. So those are a few of the guys, but the ones that I'm really interested in are the internet, in comms. Google, look at this. Look at this breakout in Google. Look at Meta, up 24% today on earnings. Holy cow, man. 24%. Let me get you a Meta chart here real quick. Here's the weekly on Meta. I do believe that is a wave 2. This whole thing should have been A, triangle B down in C. 1, 2 broke trendline resistance. That was very sharp right around December 26th, and then we're moving up. So it looks like we have the makings of green 3. We're at the 1.6 relationship. That's textbook for wave 3. We should get a wave 4 pullback down. It's still in that zone, would be a nice pullback in Meta. All right, what else we have in there? Netflix. I can show you Netflix chart. Snap. Not so much Snapchat. I don't like that company. Activision Blizzard. That's been tough. The video game sector has been tough. Baidu, Chinese, have been really good. EA, not good. Bomb there. Spotify has been one we've been tracking. This one was awesome. We brought it to our members earlier. A few of the guys got it. I didn't put a trade alert on it. I kind of missed it. I did miss it. It was a beautiful 5-wave move down. Easy to find support here, and then it's just been ripping on the upside. Here's a closer look at the wave count. So 1, 2, and then we're past the 200%. Almost the 2618. At some point, we're gonna need a wave for a pullback. Same deal there. Spotify looks good. I missed it. I brought it to our members' attention. I just didn't pull the trigger on it. So gonna have to wait for a pullback there in Spotify. But the point there is it's part of an industry that's doing very well within a sector that's doing very well, that just pulled itself off the mat after getting beat down for so long. Look at Pinterest. Look at this thing. Look at the channel of this thing. Is this the only investable social media stock? I mean, now that we have Facebook and Instagram back, I guess. But look at the breakout here in Pinterest from that base. Crazy. And that's pretty much it. I just wanted to take you through the communications industry. Hope that helped. We are having an annual sale for the membership that will expire tomorrow, Friday night. So check the link below for that. Thumbs up for the groundhog. If not for me, if you don't mind, throw a question, comment, insult if you're watching here on YouTube. If you watch this far, thanks so much. And we'll see you guys in the next video update. I hope it's sooner than it's been since last time. Take care.